As long as there's alcohol.
Yes.
Okay, good evening, our fans from around the world. It's another political show. We are spotlighting Nigeria and the government and the president's control of the judiciary. And to discuss that with me is Mustafa Warif, Said, and Kule Williams. You guys are welcome.
Okay, thank you, everybody. So Saeed was the one that came up with the idea. So not just the judiciary. It looks like Tinubu controls all branches, the police,
all arms
everything.
of government.
And so we know that Nigeria is not a democratic elected country. It's a country in which there are rules and constitutions, but the people who are political power and also very rich people can do whatever they want. Just like the guy who slapped the Uber driver and said I can make you disappear. Then they go and kidnap. They go and kidnap Dele Farr to me and bring him to court with handcuffs because of defamation. So it's very clear that they control every party. They even control the labor union. The labor union leader, what's his name? Said? Yeah.
Joe Ajaero.
Yeah, he hasn't spoken since they told him to come to the police office to explain himself. So it seems like there's not much hope through the process of voting, because if we vote again, like Saeed said, Tinubu and his boys will still.
Ever since that period that they invited him to police when he started having police issue concerning one of his tenants or so.
But also very quickly before we go to you, what I was going to say was, if we vote, it's going to be the same thing because the votes are rigged. If you want to change the constitution, they won't do it. So it seems like the only way Nigeria is going to go is to anarchy and riots and chaos. So take us from there, Saeed.
Continue from where you just paused now. My question and what I would like to discuss this night is way forward. And I'm happy that we have a lawyer in our midst here. Probably he can help us with some legal angle in it. Because right now, let me not lie to you, on my own observation, while talking to Mr. Mustafa this afternoon, like with the way things is going, we are heading towards chaos or anarchy. Because right now, the judiciary that we thought that is going to help us out during the election, apart not taking the side that Obi, I support Obi or Atiku fan, or we all know that the judgment, what happened in the judiciary during that election was no judgment of sincere hearts. We all know that. If we want to lie to ourselves, we know our judiciary is corrupt. Even lawyers knows that. I just watched like 4 or 5 lawyers and senior advocates of Nigeria spoke about this daily to me of a thing. They were just gobbling around, hiding behind the cases in court.
Beating around the bush.
Yeah, they are beating around the bush. And bros, I am a 41-year-old man. I live all my life in Lagos, in Nigeria. I know when things is not right. You understand? So my point is that judiciary is nowhere to go for we the masses. The Labour Congress, NLC, that we thought that back in the days, if the government is not giving us a very good policy, Labour Congress and Labour leaders and Labour unions will come out and put government on its toes. But under this Joe Ajaero, we can all see that after that police incident, for like 3 occasions that the government has raised fuel prices, that man not just even try show up and you understand like the normal protest and put government on its toes. You understand? So it is looking more like he has been captured. So now that we can't go to our legislators, our National Assembly to save us. Federal government, of course, the president is the head. Judiciary, it has been bought now. Now the last hope of all, ours, Labour Congress, it looks like it has been hijacked too. So with all these arms of government and how we can hold government accountable, being grabbed by this present government, we are heading towards anarchy and chaos. My own opinion, and I wish we don't get to that point. But which way can we go without going to this anarchy and chaos level?
Oh, but hold on, before we go to Kunle, let's go to Wari first. Yeah.
Okay. The way things are going right now, you just ask yourself, where are we heading to? Because the judiciary is like they bought them over. And there is like the rule of law is not even, we don't practice rule of law in Nigeria. No. I like the other time when this concerning the River State and what's it called, politics in River State, one of these son in the West pulled the parable. He said, when you give somebody a ram, let go of the rope. Don't give somebody a ram and still hold the rope. So the
Yeah.
judiciary, they should learn how to interpret the law. Let everybody be independent on his own. The judiciary, the legislators, the executive, not the executive doing the job of the what's it called, the judiciary. The judiciary right now in Nigeria, they are just like a toothless bulldog. Everybody is just, I don't want to fall victim. I don't. It's like the executive, they bought them over. The ones that are trying to say the truth, they are not the bad ones, the evil ones. Why the ones that are dancing to the tune of the executive, they are not the what's it called, the ones that are doing the right thing. Like somebody posted a picture that Yaya Bello, when he was coming back from the court, he was not on handcuff, but the person that wrote the book was on handcuff. Yaya Bello that stole billions of naira or dollars or whatever. They just treat him as if nothing happened. But the person that is trying to write what is happening, they start treating him like a hardened criminal. So the
Yeah,
judiciary
but
will
because he crossed an important man, so that's what we're saying in Nigeria. It's only if you're powerful or something you can just do whatever you want. Yeah, sorry,
So,
continue.
so once you touch the tail of the cabal, that means you've gone above, you've gone across the line, and it's
Yeah.
not supposed to be like that. So, with this type of thing now, how will 2027 election be? When INEC, the judiciary, everybody is dancing to the tune of the executive. It's just very funny. And again, the labor is not like the time of Adams Oshomole when Jonathan was in power that they can shut down the whole city. But right now, nothing is happening. They will just wake up one day and increase the price, do whatever thing they like. I think there is no constitution.
And the country is even worse off than
It's,
those
it's just,
period
it's
that
just,
we are
it's
even
just like
protesting.
child's play. It's just like child's play. And the international community also, they are not helping matters because they're supposed to call these people. This is a democratic government. They
No,
practice
this is what they want.
democracy in their country.
This is what they
So
want.
they just keep their ears.
The CIA have said, why would they call him out if he's
Yeah,
doing
quickly. So we're gonna go to Kunle quickly before we go to Kunle. So yeah, so my point very quickly is that it's even countries like France and the US that will continue to make sure that Tinubu and Co have power, even if they abuse other people, because they want to make sure that Nigeria doesn't go to BRICS and they still control Nigerian resources. But let's go to Kunle. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to look at this matter from the inside, position of knowledge. Now, when it comes to judiciary, I think that when you a lot of commercial matters and non-political matters, the progress there is significantly better. The main weakness of the judiciary is when it comes to matters involving the government and political matters, there's this area. And the problem with this case for Afe Babalola is that, and I haven't asked of specifically what it is that whether it may or may not have merit, he's saying that with a private case, yes? And he's also claiming that he's not happy at how the police handled the matter, that he's not part of that. I don't believe that. Most people don't believe that.
That's a story for the gods.
No, yes. Kunle, don't worry. The policeman said, called him and said, right, Uncle, don't worry, I'll do it. You don't have to ask me. Uncle, I'm going to help you. Uncle, I'm so angry at those people that are attacking you.
Those facts that he's put up. And it's not impossible that whatever facts he put up may even have some merit or not. I haven't seen the papers. I can't comment on that. But what I can comment on...
But it's a civil case.
I've never seen... No, defamation can be quasi-criminal in nature. You can't have... There's something called criminal defamation, right?
Okay.
But
so that's why they traveled across...
And the only time that you can get detained by a bench for criminal defamation is if you're evading the court. The court has ordered you to come and you have invaded. So you need to have an invitation first.
Okay.
Using that invitation, then the police come. The only other way that you can do that is that the matter has actually been commenced in court. A magistrate has said you haven't come to court, and then they issue a bench warrant against you. Now, even if you have a bench warrant issued against you for a crime like defamation or fraud, you're not led in handcuffs. To court, because you're innocent until proven guilty. The people that are led in handcuffs to court tend to be people accused of violent crimes. And then also denial of bail. Now, as far as I'm aware, it's only really in capital offenses such as murder or treason, or where they're a danger to society, or where they're a genuine flight risk, that their bail can be denied. But I think that the term of his bail in the other court with the 50 million naira was to submit his passport. Presuming that he satisfied those conditions of bail, he's no longer a flight risk. So why is he being denied bail for another 10 days I don't know. This is a procedure
in a lower court, a magistrate court for that matter. When the Federal High Court has already given bail, a magistrate court is. I'm liking your argument, please.
But
their acting is script.
It's not
Hey,
the
Kule,
same.
Kule, you're giving us beer parlor gist.
No. Yeah.
I know the joke. Don't worry. In our school, they're calling our show beer parlor gist. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's not unique. We all have a lot of lawyers have clients that are being wanted by AMCON or EFCC or one or the other. And what they do is that they'll come after you with 3 charges. So you'll beat bail on one. As you're stepping out of court, they'll go and pick you up for the other, and you're back in court. And they do that. So that happens a lot. Those are the agencies that do that. They'll now pick you up on another charge and bring you back into cell. So even if you got bail in one, so this is not new, and it's done a lot by the agencies, and it's not something that's done due to corruption. It's a procedure that can be abused, that can be used to do that sort of thing anyway.
Well, that's if you're going after a real criminal and you can't get them on the original thing.
That's not judicial corruption. That's just manipulation of the procedure to get an unfair advantage or undue pressure on the accused person, which may be merited or maybe not, depending on whether these cases.
But we don't even have to say that the judiciary is corrupt, but they're under total control of the federal government. So they're not sovereign. I mean, they don't have their own sphere of power. They just go along. They just do whatever the federal government tells them to do.
But the problem with these particular proceedings is 1, the arrest and detention; 2, the denial of bail; and 3, the handcuffing. These do not equate with what I consider as defamation, criminal laws. I haven't seen it. Maybe there's precedent for it that I haven't seen before. I haven't seen people. And also, when you have like a criminal matter, it's always the state versus somebody, right?
Funny thing, Mr. Kunle, sorry if I'm coming. In Ekiti, there is nothing like defamation case.
But before the court,
it has been established, even in Lagos State and Ekiti State.
So let Kunle finish off, then we'll go to Afarabi.
That application, and it may or may not be granted. You may claim that the court doesn't necessarily have jurisdiction, and you now bring up that issue first, and the court has to deal with that question of jurisdiction first. If the court says it has jurisdiction, you can now appeal, or you continue with the trial there and the court continues. But until that's been taken, yes, you cannot go further. So yes, people are putting forth the argument that Ekiti State does not have this law, but the magistrate makes the differ. So they're going to go to court, they argue, and they're going to take it upstairs. Now, this matter...
They have not even heard the case, and the guy is spending 20 days in prison now.
Yes, which is also not right. And remember that you cannot stay... This case could go on for years. Now, no matter what he's done, paying the man beyond the years of what you're charging him for. So I think defamation carries a maximum of 1 year or 2 years. I'm not sure, one of the two. So if it goes on for 2 years and they keep him in jail for 2 years, they have to release him after that 2 years, because even if he's guilty, he served time. And the question is whether he'll be convicted or not. Assuming the man is seen a defamation case where the accused person is treated like this. All the defamation matters I know, even when I've done one for criminal defamation, it's quasi-criminal, which means I can bring the action myself. I don't have to come through the state and use the what do you call it, the machinery of the state. And I don't even know, I mean, that takes a lot of power, I think, to be able to manipulate the state, that somebody impugn my character and I can get police to arraign you and to have you handcuffed. But he's trying to distance himself. And the fact that he said it, I mean, I didn't even know about it. Now I want to read the book. I would have never known about this. Yeah. Now everybody.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, but this guy will not deal for power when I become a superstar.
I will get a copy and I'll read it. I don't want on the merit of what he said and done and what is true, but I will comment on the procedures that are being done. And the procedures that are being done look to me as wrong and oppressive, regardless of whether whether the man.
But I hope that as a writer, he has a good argument, and he's just not writing rubbish. You don't want to. You don't want to write a book and say people did things and they didn't do. Even if you don't deserve to go to jail, it's disgraceful for a writer to not have good sources. Let's go to Afolabi.
Invested into the country, and the first thing they want to know is, can the regular man get justice? So that when I go and do a transaction, and I'll tell you, this happens a lot.
All right, we got to move on. We got to move on. Let's cut it quick.
So if we can't do that,
can you even hear me? Can you hear me, Kunle?
Yes. let me leave you.
Oh yeah, no, you can finish it off in 30 seconds. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I was going to say, like if you can't give basic justice, no one's going to want to invest in here, and the perceptions matter. And if we're actually able to test our system and to set it right from here, this is good. This is the start of a long journey to getting there. Let us start asking the questions and getting the answers. So that's, for me, is a welcome, because the judiciary is the one under trial, really. It's not Dele Farotimi. It's not Afe Babalola. It's the judiciary that's under trial right now.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Kunle. What are your thoughts, Afolabi?
Well, the way I look at this thing, first and foremost, it appears the way we apply our laws in Nigeria, it's selective. For the elite, it's done in a particular way. For the common man, it's administered in a particular way, which is not very good. Yeah. Then secondly, another thing I see is that the executive is responsible for manipulating and preparing the finances of the judiciary. So they have a measure of control over the judiciary. So they can always get the judiciary to favor them in decisions. They can decide to undermine the judiciary's financial ability, and they can decide to they can decide to give them more money. So because the judiciary...
But by law, sorry, Mr. Afolabi, by law, judiciary has autonomy.
Yes, I agree with you. Law. That's the correct thing. By law, judiciary should be financially autonomous, but they have to depend on the executive. Why are they looking up to the executive? They have to depend on the executive for their finances. So because of that, executive...
That's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, they have powers and control over the judiciary. They can decide to starve them of money, and they can decide to give them money.
Yeah, so but here's the thing. So, Afolabi, I know, but just to be clear, that shows that the judiciary doesn't have any, they don't have any autonomous space at all. If the federal can tell, we won't give you funding if you don't do whatever we want, it means that the whole thing is rigged. Continue.
Exactly. Sorry. And then secondly, on the issue of the Joe Ajaero, who is the Labour Congress leader, it's difficult at times because most of the time when there's a protest, it's criminalized. People are arrested, whereas the right to freedom of expression and speech is a constitutionally guaranteed right. So it's difficult at times.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's difficult at times when you keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Sometimes you can become helpless and weary. So, and then on the flip side, he might have been compromised with money, really. So there are two ways to look at it. That's
it's very weird. Okay, so we're running out of time, but so here's the order we're gonna go. We're gonna go to Warif, then to Kunle, then to Said, then to Kunle. So Warif, what are your thoughts? Yeah.
Warif is off for now.
Okay, so let's go to Kunle, but keep it to, well, anyway, when I say this, we'll move over. Kunle, 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be very quick. So all this speculation is extremely damning.
Okay, I'm back.
Wait, Kunle started, but then we'll go back to you, Warif, in a minute. So Kunle, 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. So all this speculation is extremely damning. The world is watching. Dele Farimuti's book has become a bestseller on Amazon. They got to stop them selling the book. How they're
going to write defamation.
Which they can't
enforce. I hope they won't come after you.
You can't enforce a foreign interim judgment. You can only enforce final judgments in international law. You can't enforce an interim judgment on Amazon. You can try to enforce a final one. So if he gets a final judgment, he cannot. What he has. So there's nothing you can do there.
Hold on, somebody, Warif, can you put your thing on mute for a second, please? You go ahead, Kunle. Yeah.
Even if Afe Babalola is actually able to prove on merit that Farotimi was upset in some private land matter that he lost, and he defamed him technically correctly in that, the entire perception of the legal process and how he came to be arrested and detained and the entire procedure is more, it critically almost proves the truth of what he's saying.
Yeah.
You know, and that is without him even launching a defense against the accusation being made against him. And that is we can all perceive it. And there's no mainstream media that's going to give one narrative. People are on social media. We give different narratives. We have people that are on ground that will, so it's utterly destructive.
Okay, yeah, so this goes back to what Saeed said, which is why if we see that all of this is happening and there's nothing we can do and voting won't help and everything, that's why the next step is social unrest.
There is corruption in the judiciary, and Dele Farotimi's case is even proving that. You understand?
Yeah.
So now that we all know that all these arms of government and way to protest and way to hold our government accountability has been hijacked. So what can we do? I was talking to a friend of mine, which is he happens to be a lawyer too. He too is even tired. At this point, he is telling me that there is no two ways about it. That we Nigerians, we have to find a way to unite and go on the street and tell this government to stand down. And if we are going to do that, I gave him reasons that police will come after us. They will unleash the army. You can see that any significant voice that is trying to encourage people to go that route, they are picking them up. That as we can see now, that it is not just Afe Babalola that is after Dele Farotimi now. The IG of police is also suing him. You can imagine that.
So it's a stacked deck. So that's why.
So you can tell that there is hand of government in this case too. So it now boils down that
because of the power structure, they're all together. All these guys are together.
They're all together.
Okay, so let's move on quickly. Warif, before we go to Kunle, Warif, let's see if your sounds okay. Let's see what your thoughts are. If not, we'll have to mute again. What do you think, Warif? Yeah.
Warif is off presently.
Yeah, he's off. He was off. Okay, so before we go to Kunle, what are your short thoughts on the new topic we're talking about, the anarchy and everything, and what Saeed just said, Folabi? Yeah.
Yes, I think the problem first and foremost is that the colonial legacy that was before Nigeria became independent, our colonial masters used law enforcement to protect the ruling class instead of justice and fairness. Yep. And our leaders have continued from there. They use the police and the law enforcement agents to bully the poor and to protect the ruling class. I think the police far-reaching arm in using them to do some of these things should be curtailed, and there should be clear lines defined. Because you look at the way Farotimi was arrested, the police just went after him and they took him to Ekiti State and he was imprisoned. I don't think that is the right way to proceed in matters like this. It's like an extension of colonial legacy, which we should have dropped a long time ago.
Yeah, and it also shows that even after the colonial people have left, it's still about the ruling class. Yeah,
exactly.
What are your thoughts? What are your last thoughts, Kunle? 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah.
Just about an old man trying to teach a young whippersnapper a lesson.
Yeah.
Like it
just like the thing in River State with like with government with
let's not beat around the bush. They are just trying to teach him a lesson that they control. We are the power that be.
Just that I'm the big man. I'm Billy Big Bollocks. I'm the and you have to bow down to me because I am mightier than you. It's not or truth or anything.
It's abuse of power. Yeah.
Abuse of power, straight up.
That's the
power drunk.
Yeah,
power drunk.
Okay, so what are your thoughts? Kunle, yeah. If you have one more thing to say, Kunle, then I will go to Warif.
Yeah. So what I'm hoping is that at some point there will be some sanity in the judiciary and it will find a way to pull itself back from it, like it did with the children that were arrested for 3 months protesting. They need to find roll back out of this mess.
Yes, thank you. So what are your thoughts, Warif? Yeah.
Well, to me, what is happening in the country right now is that the judiciary, they are but they should try and do the right
Yeah.
thing because that's why they are there.
Thank you. So okay, so very quickly, Saeed, last thoughts, then Afolabi take us out. Thank you, Wari.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
I would like to ask everyone one more last question before we go. Like,
Yeah.
I want to believe everybody has agreed with my point that we are heading towards chaos or anarchy.
If there's no change, yeah. That's a law of nature. When there's no food, when there's nothing, there's more crime, more people get angry, more riots, and lawlessness. Continue, yeah.
Yeah.
That's basically
at this point, because I want to ask if there is any other channel or avenue we can we can come up with. Probably we can channel our energy to
the only thing I can think is national protest and strike. That's the only thing I can think. What do you think, Afolabi?
Yes, I quite agree.
And then we're going to Warif after that. What do you think, Afolabi?
That's the only way to go, and it's constitutionally guaranteed, and the rights of people are protected under protest.
There's your daddy.
Process. So I think a revolution.
Warif, put it on mute. Yeah.
I think a revolution is much needed. But
I feel, and it has to be strike, and the citizens need to say, "We're not going to move." They tried it for a little bit with when Abiola was done wrong, but after a while, but it was only the street boys that were doing it. The whole country should have done it with Abiola, and the whole country needs to do it now. What do you think, Kunle? Yeah,
let's do sit-at-home strike. I don't want anybody's children to die for.
No, stay at home. That's the best national strike.
Stay-at-home strike is the safest kind of form of.
That's the best way to do it. You're right.
Yeah.
And then if they want to enter our house, that's when the whole world is going to look at them. There's no way Nigerians can enter people's house and start killing them because they don't go to school. If they do that, the whole international community will put them at the same level as the Nazis and Israel. What do you think, Saeed?
If I may chip in a little, I don't think that is going to work. I don't think that is going to work because they know that if we do sit at home for 2 or 3 days, we will hunger go blast us.
Yeah, but if you stay long enough,
these people are smart. It's not going to work. We have to go that route.
Hold on, Saeed. If essential workers and everybody stayed at home, within 3 days, the big men in Nigeria will start losing money and they will panic.
Essential
workers. If Nigeria has sit at home for 6 days, even Putin and China and Biden will all be calling Tinubu and say, "Oh boy, you better fix this quickly." Because if Nigerians sit at home,
I don't think you understand the madmen.
No,
but they're not that mad.
They also have bosses. Those men,
they have billions. They have trillions.
Saeed, no. Saeed. Those madmen. For example, let me give you an example. Tinubu has oil companies in Malta. If oil workers in Nigeria and everybody shuts down, he too will lose money. He will lose money too.
Of course. What of the doctors and the nurses? If they go on strike, people will die.
That's the only thing that can work is to sit at home. Because if you have anarchy, they'll just bring out soldiers and kill everybody, and it will just continue.
You have to remember that.
But I agree with you, Saeed. It's a very complex. I'm not saying you're right or we're wrong, but we're just seeing all the counterpoint. What do you say?
These are evil men. These are heartless people.
But all of them answer. But they still answer to friends.
We've tried something similar.
But all of those evil men, they will get their heads cut off if the whole country sits down for even 10 days. But go ahead, Kunle. Sorry, this is a good one. We'll continue it later in the week. Good one from everybody. Kunle, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Right. Best form of strike that we can do, and also you have to remember that there'll be elements of the opposition. There'll be other people that will see.
Saeed, put it on mute, please. I'm not Saeed. I'm worried. Mute, please. Yeah, it's echoing. Okay, go ahead, Kunle.
Will automatically become vulnerable. That's why Occupy Nigeria was so scary. They're scared of an uprising that could overtake them.
That's why they killed Sarawiwa, because he had a voice. Yeah.
Home strike is like a vote of no confidence against the government. It will put them under pressure. You don't have to stay at home for 1 week or 10 days. You stay at home for 1 or 2 days at a time when you do these strikes.
That's what they do in Germany and France. Yeah.
Yeah. It's how, depending on how complete they are very powerful. No matter how rich you are, somebody has to go and switch on your generator. Somebody has to go and carry food for you. Your servant still has to come to work. The person that is cleaning your bum and going to come to work.
Of course, so your gate man still has to open your gate for you to drive
Yeah.
So at home strike is very, very devastating, and it is
very
devastating
effective.
immediately to them.
Okay. If I may chip in quickly before we go. Now, okay, let's take that your argument and point of view that we should do 10 days of sit at home. Do you know that these people
10 days?
Yeah. Do you know that there's one thing. Mr. Delefaro wrote to me point out.
Sorry, you got to keep it quick because we're running out of time. Yeah.
So there's one thing Mr. Delefaro wrote to me pointed out that I took very seriously. That he is saying it is not about we protesting for so days. What happened after that days? Okay, let's say 10 days now, we sit at home, the government, the whole international community are saying, what if this our present government, like I said, they are evil, they waited that 10 days, they even prepare for 15 days. What happened after that if they don't do anything?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Corruption and everything.
That's why, to be honest with you, Kunle, I'm in favor of making it say 4 months. The reason I say 4 months, it won't get to that level. Before those 4 months come, the government will ban.
If you can go all the way, we should go all the way. Let's not put dates to it. We should go all the way.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's among the pigeons. I can't say I'm going to know what's happened the day after the sit-out. But I think that we need to put the cat among the pigeons, at least.
No, so I'm going to take, so you guys, both of you, I'm going to take a cautious approach. We should start off with 10-day, 2-day, and see if they respond. If they don't respond, after a certain point, it has to be all the way. What do you think? Afolabi? Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you.
Test the waters first.
I think it should be indefinite. I agree with that.
But at first, you can be relaxed to see if they respond. But once they don't respond after a while,
indefinite strike.
Indefinite
strike, because people need to. Some people don't. If they don't work that day,
but if it's indefinite and the government knows that it's for real, they will stop it because they will also suffer the consequences if it goes on indefinitely. But this is very complex, so none of us is right or wrong. Let's see, is Warif still with us? Last words, Warif.
No.